Blake. It is 2 in the morning. Hopefully this does not wake you up.
Hollywood is in shock. A leaked 2 a.m. voicemail just exposed Justin Baldoni's true colors. Justin and his team have promised to release all of their communications with Blake, claiming they would reveal the truth behind the events that transpired during production.
Absolutely.
You will?
Yes, we plan to release every single text messages between the two of them. We want the truth to be out there. We want the documents to be out there. We want people to make their determination based on receipts.
The situation escalated after Lively publicly accused him of sexual harassment, a claim Baldoni vehemently denies. But there's more to the story than meets the eye.
But they're saying she decided she wanted to take over and use the power of her fame and name and that of her husband, Ryan Reynolds, to bully Justin Baldoni into the fetal position.
Justin himself has now come forward with a public statement, as well as the release of a nearly 7-minute voicemail he sent to Blake at 2 a.m., offering an apology. The apology, which he released to TMZ, was an emotional and somewhat desperate-sounding message where he expressed regret for what transpired, acknowledging the toll it took on Blake. He even expressed gratitude for the trust she showed in sharing her feelings with him. The voicemail, however, is problematic. Some have pointed out how long and over the top it seemed.
And this has been released now, according to TMZ. They're sourcing Justin, saying he's following through on his vow to release all his communications with Blake Lively, revealing a nearly 7-minute apology he sent her at 2 a.m. while they were working on the film It Ends With Us.
The sentiment was certainly there, but his excessive apology was seen as a sign of his fear of upsetting her, further confirming what some have suspected. Justin may have been intimidated by Blake and the power dynamics surrounding her relationship with Ryan Reynolds. Justin sounds absolutely shaken in this voicemail, almost like he knows he's in deep trouble.
I want to start with an apology. Man, reading the second part of your message, my heart sank. And I'm really sorry. I for sure fell short.
That doesn't sound like just a simple apology. That sounds like a man trying to save himself from something much bigger.
And I'm really sorry. I f***ed up.
He also expressed admiration for Blake's friends who stood up for her.
And damn right, you got great friends if that's how you felt and they knew that. And we should all have friends like that, aside from the fact that they're two of the most creative people on the planet. The three of you guys together is unbelievable. Talk about energy and just a force, all three of you.
He acknowledges that Blake worked hard on the movie, but the voice message also underscores how much he wanted to appease her. He even jokingly comments that he's probably waking her up with his rambling message at 2 a.m., which doesn't exactly portray him as the sexually aggressive villain he was accused of being. In fact, this voicemail contradicts the public perception of him as a powerful aggressor, instead painting him as a man who was desperate to keep the peace, perhaps to his own detriment. Some have even pointed out that it almost seems like he was trying to prove himself worthy of her, trying to get in her good graces.
I think the point of it is to show us that he was not some evil harasser. He was subjugated to her. And Ryan Reynolds.
Now, we must also consider Ryan Reynolds' role in all of this. It's been speculated that Reynolds, being the protective husband, didn't take too kindly to the late-night voicemails and the growing tension between his wife and Justin. There's even a theory circulating that Ryan was upset enough to get involved, fueling the narrative that Justin was harassing Blake. His protective stance could have played a role in escalating the situation to the point where Blake felt the need to publicly accuse Justin of sexual harassment. This theory gains traction when you consider how Ryan and Blake's combined influence could have pressured Justin into releasing this heartfelt apology.
So there's speculation that this may be one of the things, because it sounds like they'd already had their fight that night where Ryan Reynolds reamed him out. But, you tell me whether your husband wants a man calling you at 2 a.m. and whether there was something between these two that got Ryan Reynolds back up, that made him a little concerned, that had her running to the harassment. I swear it was harassment place. It's one of the theories that's out there.
The timing of all of this is especially significant because it was around this period that Blake Lively gave her interview to the New York Times, where she alleged that Justin had harassed her. She painted a picture of a toxic work environment where she felt unsafe. But Justin quickly pushed back against this claim, releasing his own evidence to refute the accusations.
The audience may recall this all got started because she came out in the New York Times alleging that she'd been sexually harassed by him and that he, to keep it secret, generated an inorganic Blake Sucks media campaign against her last summer when the movie was released. It had people like the New York Times and others saying, gee, we have to rethink all the bad press that we read or wrote about Blake Lively. Were we used by a sexual harasser trying to smear her?
One of the most telling pieces of evidence was the series of texts between him and Blake. In one exchange, Blake casually invited him to her trailer while breastfeeding, which Justin later clarified in his messages, showing how innocent the situation was. This further countered the idea that he was in any way inappropriate, painting Blake as the one who had fabricated a narrative about being harassed.
And this led Justin to eventually speak out, saying this trying to smear her. And this led Justin to eventually speak out, saying this is all BS, that I didn't harass her in any way, shape, or form. She tried to steal my movie from her. I bent over backward to accommodate her. Her alleged claims of sexual harassment are complete BS. Here's what really happened. Released their actual texts, putting things like, he watched me breastfeed naked in my trailer in context when we saw text from her saying, I'm breastfeeding in my trailer, come on over.
Despite this, the media frenzy that ensued led to a major shift in public opinion, with some even wondering whether the press had been manipulated. The allegations against Justin led people to rethink everything they had previously read or heard about Blake, leading to a complete 180 on the matter. Some critics have even compared Blake's situation to Amber Heard's, where a public relations campaign backfired disastrously. Many believe Blake miscalculated in trying to portray Justin as a sexual harasser, only to have it come back to haunt her.
I don't know. She's made herself into Amber Heard. We all see it.
Justin's response has been strikingly composed in comparison, and he even published a book in 2021 titled Man Enough: Undefining My Masculinity. In this book, he explores issues around toxic masculinity and how he's worked to redefine what it means to be a man in today's world.
By the way, his book in 2021 was called Man Enough: Undefining My Masculinity. And he did a whole podcast trying to undefine his masculinity. Justin, you succeeded. You're good. You can stop unspooling now because there's no thread left on that.
However, after everything that's happened, it seems his efforts to reshape his image haven't been as successful as he might have hoped. His attempts to be overly accommodating, going so far as to release personal texts and voice memos, seem to have backfired. While the goal might have been to portray him as understanding and respectful, some people have started to think of him as a man who let others walk all over him. But if you ask me, that's not the case. At first, he tried to avoid conflict to save his project and the hassle. But when that did not work, he decided to fight. People seem to have missed out that he has sued Blake Lively and Disney for this treatment, so no, he does not let others walk over him. Some people are also calling him wrong for sending voicemail to Blake Lively at 2 a.m. Oh, come on, Blake supporters are trying too hard to find a fault. But they don't know that when he sent that voicemail, he was replying to a very lengthy text message he received from Blake at 1:50 a.m. Justin's responses, his texts, his voice messages, paint a very different picture from the one Blake wanted the public to believe. It was her own actions that started this entire chain of events, with rumors now suggesting that she was the one who had her PR team leak negative stories about Justin in the first place. This revelation certainly shifts the blame, showing that Blake may have played a much larger role in the media circus than anyone previously realized.
This was a massive disaster for her to unleash this PR campaign against him, which, by the way, Brian Friedman told us she started. She was the one through her PR agent who was dropping negative stories about Justin, not the other way around. She played with fire, and now she got burned. This isn't going to end well for you, Blake. Sorry.
The fact that Justin is now publicly calling her out and sharing his side of the story shows just how much he wants to reclaim his reputation and prove that he wasn't the villain in this situation. By releasing all of their communications, he's opening the door to reveal everything, making it clear that he was not an abusive figure, but rather a man subjected to intense pressure from Blake and her circle. Whether or not this will work in his favor remains to be seen, but it certainly highlights the complexities of their relationship and the power dynamics at play on set. Now, we want to hear from you. Do you think Baldoni is guilty, or is this just another Hollywood PR war? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on this case.